All right, let me ask you something. What if you could actually turn back the clock on your immune system? Well, today we're diving into a massive breakthrough that seems to do just that. Scientists have found a single protein that can apparently rejuvenate our body's defenders, and we're going to break down exactly how it works. I mean, really think about that. Imagine restoring your immune system to the way it was when you were younger, more robust, more effective. This isn't science fiction anymore. New research is pointing to a very specific molecular signal that could make this a reality, completely reframing how we think about immune aging. It's not inevitable. It might just be a solvable problem. So here's the game plan. We'll start with the core problem of immune aging. Then we'll introduce this amazing protein that acts kind of like a time machine for our cells. After that, we'll get into the nuts and bolts of how it reboots our stem cells. And of course, we'll cover what this all means for your own health engineering. And finally, we'll look at what's next in this incredible field. Okay, first things first. We have to understand that a weaker immune system isn't just about, catching more colds. It's a fundamental shift deep inside your body's cellular factory. It's a real change in what's coming off the production line. And the master controls for this entire factory, they're your hematopoietic stem cells, or HSCs for short. These live deep in your bone marrow, and one lead researcher calls them the holy grail of the immune system. Why? Because they create every single blood and immune cell in your body. They are the source code. Now check this out, because this is where it gets really interesting. In a young system, these stem cells are perfectly balanced. They're churning out both myeloid cells, think red blood cells, and lymphoid cells, which are your all-important T and B cell defenders. But as we get older, the system gets what they call myeloid biased. It starts making too many myeloid cells and not enough of those critical lymphoid defenders. And that leaves our immune response weaker and totally out of whack. So, the huge question is, what's causing this production shift? What's flipping that switch? And that is exactly where this new breakthrough comes in. Researchers have finally put their finger on a key molecular signal that seems to control this whole process. And that signal is a protein called Platelet Factor 4, or PF4. Yup, that's the hero of our story today. A team at the University of Illinois Chicago pinpointed this specific protein as the master regulator behind the aging of our entire blood and immune system. And look, the significance of this is just massive. The lead researcher, Sandra Pino, put it so simply but so powerfully. She said PDF4 rejuvenated the aging of the blood system. This wasn't just some minor adjustment. We're talking about a fundamental reversal. So how does one little protein actually do this, right? How can it have such a huge effect on our core stem cells? Let's get into the mechanism. It really all comes down to being a good regulator. See, when we're young, we have high levels of PF4, and it basically acts like a brake. It's telling our stem cells, hey, calm down, stop multiplying like crazy. But as we age, our PF4 levels drop. The brake comes off. The stem cells then just start dividing way too much. And every time they divide, there's a risk of errors, mutations, creeping into their genetic code. And that right there is a direct pathway to chronic inflammation, blood cancers, and even cardiovascular disease. Hey, just a quick pause here. If you're finding this explainer valuable and you want more deep dives into the science of health engineering, do us a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to Vitality Algorithm. It really helps us out. Now, the evidence for this is just so compelling. What the scientists did was they took aged mice that had these old myeloid-biased stem cells. Then, for a whole month, they gave these mice daily infusions of PF4. The result? It was stunning. Their immune and blood cells started to look and, more importantly, act way younger. And this chart just lays it out beautifully. Look at the bar on the left. That's the low count of those crucial lymphoid cells in the old stem cells. Now look at the middle bar. After the PF4 treatment, that lymphoid count is totally restored. In fact, it looks almost identical to the high lymphoid count you see in the young stem cells on the right. They literally restored the factory's output back to its youthful settings. So what's the so what for us? I mean, we can't just go out and get PF4 infusions, at least not yet. But the principles behind this discovery, they are immediately relevant for any of us who are actively trying to engineer our own health and longevity. This research is a huge validation for so many strategies we already talk about. First, it confirms that managing inflammation is absolutely crucial. It shines a massive spotlight on how important precise cellular signaling is, and it totally validates the entire goal of regulating our stem cells. I mean, think about it. Practices like fasting, what are they designed to do? Create a controlled stress that promotes cellular cleanup and renewal. This research suggests that part of that amazing benefit could be coming from influencing signals just like PF4. This is literally a preview of where targeted biointerventions are going. Let me put it another way. While you can't supplement with PF4 today, the science behind it gives us this powerful validation for a core principle of health engineering. You have to aggressively manage inflammation and boost your cellular efficiency if you want to build a healthier, more youthful biology from the inside out. So, where do we go from here? Well, this discovery is about so much more than just one protein. It really feels like it's opening up a brand new chapter in how we understand the aging process itself. And this just leaves us with a really provocative thought to chew on. PF4 is one incredibly powerful cellular regulator that we've now identified. So the real question is, how many more are out there? What other master switches are we on the verge of discovering that could give us even more precise control over how we age? Remember, this content is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice. Always consult your doctor. Thanks for diving into this with us. Stay curious.